The first parva is called Anukramanika, the second Sangraha, then Paushya, then Paloma, the Āsṭhika, then Adivanshavatārana, then comes the Sambhava of wonderful and thrilling incidents, then comes Jatukruhadaha, and then Hidimbavadha parvas, then comes Bakavadha, then Chitraratha, the next is Swayamvara, in which Arjuna, by the exercise of Kshatriya virtues, had Draupadi for wife. Then comes Vaivahika, then comes Viduragamana, Rajalamba, Arjuna Vanvasa, and Subhadra Harana. After these come Haranaharika, Khandavadaha, Maya Darshana. Then comes Sabha, Mantra, Jarasandha, Digvijaya. After Digvijaya comes Rajasuya, Arghabhiharana, and Shishupala. After these, Dyuta, Anudyuta, Aranyaka, and Kirmirvadha, the Arjuna Bhigamana, and Kairata. In the last has been described the battle between Arjuna and Mahadeva in the guise of a hunter. After these, Indraloka Bhigamana, then that mine of dharma and virtue, the highly pathetic Nalopakhyana Parva. After this last, Tirthayatra, or the pilgrimage of the wise prince of the Kurus, the death of Jatasura, and the battle of the Yakshas. Then the battle with Nivatakavachas, Ajgara Parva, and Markandeya Samasya Parva. Then the meeting of Draupadi and Satyabhama, Ghoshayatra Parva, Mrigaswapna Parva. Then the story of Vrihi Draunika, and then Indradyumna. Then Draupadi Harana, Jayadrath Vimokshana. Then the story of Savitri, illustrating the great merit of connubial chastity. After this last, the story of Rama. The parva that comes next is called Kundala Harana Parva. That which comes next is Aranya Parva, and then Virata Parva. Then the entry of the Pandavas and the fulfillment of their promise. Then the destruction of the Kichakas. Then the attempt to take the kine. The next is called the marriage of Abhimanyu with the daughter of Virata. The next you must know is the most wonderful parva called Udyoga. The next must be known by the name of Sanjayayana. Then comes Prajagara, then Sanata Sujata, in which are mysteries of Adhyatmic Darshana. Then Yana Sandhi, and then the arrival of Krishna. Then the story of Matali, and then of Galava. Then the stories of Savitri, Vamadeva, and Vainya. Then the story of Jamadagnya and Shodash Rajika. Then arrival of Krishna at the court, and then Vidula Putra Shasana. Then the muster of troops and Vishwopakhyana Parva. Then you must know comes the quarrel of the high-souled Karna. Then the march to the field of troops of both sides. The next has been called numbering the Rathis and Atirathis. Then comes arrival of the messenger Uluka, which kindles the wrath of the Pandavas. The next that comes, you must know, is the story of Amba. Then comes the thrilling story of the installation of Bhishma as commander-in-chief. The next is called the creation of the insular region, Jambu. Then Bhumi Parva. Then the account about the formation of the islands. Then comes the Bhagavad Gita, and then the death of Bhishma. Then the installation of Drona, then the destruction of the Sansaptakas, then the death of Abhimanyu, and then the vow of Arjuna to slay Jayadratha, then the death of Jayadratha, and then of Ghatotkacha. Then you must know comes the story of the death of Drona of surprising interest. The next that comes is called the discharge of weapon called Narayana. Then you know is Karna Parva, and then Shalya Parva. Then comes the immersion in the lake, and then the encounter between Bhima and Duryodhana with clubs. Then comes Saraswata, and then the description of holy shrines, and then genealogies. Then comes Sauptika, describing incidents disgraceful to the honor of the Kurus. Then comes the Āsṭhika of harrowing incidents. Then comes Jala Pradana, oblations of water to the manes of the deceased. And then the wailings of the women. The next must be known as Shraddha, describing the funeral rites performed for the slain Kauravas. Then comes the destruction of the Rakshasa, Charvaka, who had assumed the disguise of a Brahmana for deceiving Yudhishthira. Then the coronation of the wise Yudhishthira. The next is called Gruha Pravibhaga Parva. Then comes Shanti Parva, then Rajdharmanushasana, then Apadharma, then Moksha Dharma. Those that follow are called respectively Shuka Prashnabhigamana, Brahma Prashnanushasana, the origin of Durvasa, the disputation with Maya. The next is to be known as Anushasanika, then the ascension of Bhishma to heaven, then Ashwamedhik Parva, which, when read, purges all sins away. The next must be known as Anugita, in which are words of Adhyatmic Darshana. Those that follow are called Ashramavasika, Putra Darshana, and the arrival of Narada. The next is called Mausala Parva, which abounds with terrible and cruel incidents. Then comes Mahaprasthanika and ascension to heaven. Then comes Harivansha Parva, which is also called Khil Purana. In this last are contained Vishnu Parva, Vishnu's frolics and feats as a child, the destruction of Kansa, and lastly, the very wonderful Bhavishya Parva, in which there are prophecies regarding the future. The high-souled Vyasa composed these 100 Parvas, of which the above is only an abridgment. Having distributed them into 18, the son of Suta recited them consecutively in the forest Namisha as follows.